In this brief video, we are going to look at ancient Eastern religions, their origin, beliefs, and diffusion. Hinduism originated about 4,000 years ago in India. It was a religion of an ancient people known as the Aryans or noble people, whose philosophy, religion, and customs are recorded in their sacred texts known as the Vedas. These texts were initially handed down by word of mouth from teacher to student. It was not until much later that they were actually written down. Archaeological evidence helps to establish Hinduism as one of the world's oldest living religions. Hinduism is more of a code of life. It's a collection of attitudes, personal experiences, and spiritual practices. It is, in essence, defined by behaviors rather than beliefs. According to Hindu philosophy, there is one divine reality, and all religions are simply a variation interpretation of it. Because of this, Hinduism allows and even encourages individuals to choose a religious path that best suits their needs. The fundamental teaching of Hinduism is that a human being's basic nature is not confined to the body or mind. The general name for God in Hinduism is Brahman. However, God is also present in all creation. God's manifestation in creation goes by many names. The Hindu worldview is grounded in the doctrines of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, and karma, the universal law of cause and effect. Hinduism spread to Southeast Asia. Likewise, trade helped spread the religion. As a colony of England in later times, India was prime territory to recruit native Indians to work on plantations in South America and African colonies. And as you can see by the picture at the top of the screen, Hinduism has effectively traveled all throughout the world. Judaism finds its origins in the story of Abraham, a Hebrew man who is considered the father of the Jewish faith. He promoted the central idea of the Jewish faith that there is one God. At the time, many people in the Middle East worshiped many gods. He believed that his many children would live in land of their own, the promised land, Canaan. Judaism adheres to the Ten Commandments, or laws, that are found in the sacred Hebrew text of the Torah. Judaism spread after fighting with the Jews established the Israelite kingdom. After many years, Canaan was conquered by the Assyrians, the Babylonians, and then eventually the Romans. The Israelites found themselves enslaved, this time by the Babylonians. The Israelites were taken over by Romans, who destroyed much of what had been built in Jerusalem by the Israelites. Most of the Jews were then scattered all over the region and eventually moved from place to place to avoid persecution, which still continues to this day. The origins of Buddhism points to one man, Siddhartha Gautama, the historical Buddha, who was born in present-day Nepal during the 5th century BCE. Moving on to beliefs. All Buddhists wish to achieve the end of suffering and reach nirvana. To do this, Buddhists must train and purify their minds by following the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths include the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. Each of these lessons explain the key to Buddhist steps in understanding the truth about life, the reasons behind those truths, the possibility of change, and the way of life that can lead to being free of suffering. Buddhists study, meditate, think, and act in ways that are designed to help them come to a fuller understanding of each of these Four Noble Truths, and to stay on the path that the Buddha says will lead them to peace and happiness. Moving on to diffusion. Long ago, Buddhism began to spread southwards from its place of origin in northern India to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Indochina, and other Southeast Asian countries. It also moved northwards through the Kashmir, Afghanistan, along the Silk Road into the Himalayan kingdoms of Tibet, Mongolia, and other parts of Central Asia. Also, it moved into China and later into Korea and Japan. Nowadays, however, Buddhism is attracting an increased following in Europe and the Americas. In Asia, it is still thriving in countries like Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Korea, and Japan. Confucianism originated in modern-day China. The founder of Confucianism was called Confucius. He was a teacher to sons of the nobility at a time when formal education was just beginning in China. Confucius said, "Heaven and the afterlife were beyond human capacity to understand, and one should therefore concentrate instead on doing the right thing in this life." The earliest records from his students indicate that he taught an attitude toward one's fellow humans of respect, particularly respect for one's parents, teachers, and elders. Moving on to beliefs. Confucius taught people 5 basic ideas about behavior. Always be considerate to others, respect your ancestors, try for harmony and balance in all things, avoid extremes in behavior and emotions. If you live in peace and harmony, then you will be in contact with the spiritual forces of the universe, including nature. Confucius taught 5 basic virtues: 1. Kindness, 2. Righteousness, 3. Sobriety, 4. Wisdom, and 5. Trustworthiness. Confucianism was the code of ethics, adopted as the official religion of most of the great empires in the region since the Han Dynasty. Everyone has some sort of religious belief. Confucianism provides a simple skeleton of the ethical and religious beliefs that most Chinese flesh out by other religions such as Taoism. Moving on to dispersion. Confucianism spread very quickly for a variety of reasons, including the popularity of Confucianism and the easily adaptability of the religion into others such as Taoism and Buddhism. Now, moving on to Taoism, which was originated in China. Taoism was started by the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, the supreme master in the 6th century BCE. Lao lived in the same time as other Chinese philosopher Confucius. Taoism has many beliefs, but it primarily focuses on the way, which is the meaning of Tao. The way, according to Taoists, is the spiritual force that underlies the universe and is found in all things. Even though it is a part of all things, it is greater than all things. It is the ultimate reality. Taoists believe that they should live in harmony with the way. If they do this, they will merge with the way, free their souls, and become one of the immortals. In the beginning, Taoists believed that there were no gods or goddesses, only the way. But over time, people began worshiping Lao Tzu and other important Taoist teachers. They also began worshiping forces of nature such as the sun, moon, stars, and tides. They believe in a strong balance between the yin and yang, which you can see in the picture at the top. Balance and harmony is a primary teaching in this religion. This religion diffused around China and has infused with many other religions such as Buddhism and Confucianism. In the timeline below, you can see such a strong correlation between the 3 religions that were created or founded around the same time: Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. I hope you have enjoyed this brief clip. I wanted to take a second just to kind of look at each of these 5 religions and their timelines. As you can see, Hinduism and Judaism occurred very close together. There was a longer gap, and then Taoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism all occurred generally around the same time, which has caused some of them to intermix and just their philosophies to grow together. And again, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I look forward to speaking with you guys again soon.